Kant's categorical imperative, this moral standard, says, act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. What does this mean? It means we should only do things that we would want everyone else to do too. Be honest, respectful, and fair, because if everyone did the same, the world would be a much better place. For instance, if you're thinking of lying to get out of a situation, ask yourself if you would want everyone else to lie in similar situations. If the answer is no, then it's not a good moral choice. This standard helps us think about the bigger picture and how our actions affect others. Golden rule. Golden rule. It's a simple yet powerful moral standard that says, treat others the way you want to be treated. Imagine how you feel when someone is kind and respectful to you. That's exactly how others want to feel too. So, let's all try to be understanding, empathetic, and compassionate towards each other. Remember, what goes around comes around. For example, if you want people to be honest with you, be honest with them. If you want people to respect your boundaries, respect theirs. It's all about reciprocity and treating others with the same kindness and care that we would like to receive ourselves. Utilitarianism is a moral standard that means the greatest happiness for the greatest number. It's all about maximizing happiness and minimizing suffering. Imagine if everyone did things that made others happy. What a wonderful world we'd live in. So, for example, if you're deciding between two actions, ask yourself which one would bring the most happiness to the most people. If you're unsure, try to put yourself in others' shoes and think about how they would feel. This standard encourages us to think about the well-being of others and make choices that benefit the community. Ethical egoism. This moral standard says, look out for number one, yourself. It's all about taking care of your own needs and interests. Now, this doesn't mean being selfish or harming others, but rather being responsible for your own happiness and well-being. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself so you can help others too. For instance, if you're feeling burnt out and overwhelmed, it's okay to take a step back and prioritize your own needs. This might mean saying no to commitments or taking time for self-care. By taking care of ourselves, we can become better friends, family members, and community members. Altruism. This moral standard says, put others before yourself. It's all about selflessness, kindness, and generosity. For example, if you see someone struggling, offer a helping hand. If you have extra resources, share them with those in need. By putting others first, we can create a ripple effect of kindness and make the world a better place. Imagine if everyone put others first. What a wonderful world we'd live in. So, let's try to be more considerate, empathetic, and compassionate towards each other. Non-Maleficence. This moral standard says, do no harm. It's all about avoiding actions that could hurt or harm others. Remember, our words and actions have power. Let's use that power to uplift and support each other, not tear each other down. For instance, if you're thinking of gossiping about someone, ask yourself if it could potentially harm their reputation or feelings. If the answer is yes, it's best to keep quiet. This standard encourages us to think about the potential consequences of our actions and choose kindness instead of harm. Beneficence is a moral standard that applies on do good. It's all about taking positive actions that help others. Imagine if everyone did something good for someone else each day. What a wonderful world we'd live in. So let's try to be more kind, generous, and compassionate towards each other. For example, if you see a friend struggling, offer a listening ear or a helping hand. If you have a talent or skill, share it with others to make a positive impact. By doing good, we can create a wave of kindness and make the world a better place. Autonomy, this moral standard says, respect people's freedom and choices. It's all about recognizing that everyone has the right to make their own decisions and live their own lives. Remember, we're all unique individuals with our own paths to follow. Let's support and respect each other's autonomy. For instance, if a friend is making a decision that you don't agree with, try to understand their perspective and respect their choice. If someone is living a lifestyle that's different from yours, remember that it's their life to live. By respecting autonomy, we can create a society that values individuality and freedom. Veracity, this moral standard says, be truthful and honest. It's all about being transparent and sincere in our words and actions. Remember, honesty is the best policy. Let's build trust and respect with each other by being truthful. For example, if you're asked a question and you don't know the answer, it's okay to say "I don't know" instead of making something up. If you've made a mistake, own up to it and apologize. By being truthful, we can build strong relationships and a trustworthy community. Fairness is a moral standard that treats others justly and equally. It's all about recognizing that everyone deserves equal opportunities and respect. For instance, if you're in a position of power, try to use your influence to create equal opportunities for everyone. If you see someone being treated unfairly, speak up and support them. By promoting fairness, we can create a society that values justice and equality. Justice, this moral standard says, stand up for what's right and fair. It's all about promoting equality, fairness, and morality in our society. Remember, we all have a responsibility to create a better world. For example, if you see a social injustice, use your voice to speak out against it. If you have the means, support organizations that fight for justice and equality. By standing up for justice, we can create a world that's fair and just for all. Let's work together for justice and peace. Care ethics is a moral standard that shows empathy, compassion, and care towards others. It's all about recognizing that we're all connected and interdependent. Remember, we all need care and support at times. For instance, if a friend is going through a tough time, offer a listening ear and a helping hand. If you see someone struggling, try to understand their perspective and offer support. By showing care and compassion, we can create a community that values empathy and kindness. Virtue ethics. This moral standard says, cultivate good character traits like compassion, honesty, and fairness. It's all about developing our inner strength and moral wisdom. Remember, who we are matters. Let's strive to be the best version of ourselves. For example, if you're trying to develop your compassion, try volunteering at a local charity or helping a friend in need. If you're working on your honesty, try being more transparent and truthful in your interactions. Moral absolutism is a moral standard that applies universal moral principles to every situation. It's like a rigid ruler, applying the same moral principles regardless of context or culture. Moral absolutism is based on the idea that certain actions are inherently right or wrong. It's a deontological approach, focusing on moral rules and duties rather than consequences. It's similar to Kant's categorical imperative, but more rigid and inflexible. Imagine you're asked if you know where a friend is, and you know that telling the truth would put them in danger. A moral absolutist would say that lying is always wrong, regardless of the circumstances, and that you should tell the truth even if it puts your friend at risk. Moral relativism. This moral standard says, morality is relative to the individual or culture. It's all about recognizing that morality can vary from person to person and culture to culture. Remember, what's right for one person may not be right for another. Let's respect and understand each other's perspectives. Moral relativism is similar to care ethics, but it differs from moral absolutism. Moral relativism says that morality is relative to the individual or culture, while moral absolutism says that there is a universal moral code that applies to everyone.